My beloved brothers and sisters, how often do our hearts feel heavy? How often do we lie awake at night, worried about matters that only Allah truly controls? We raise our hands, we whisper our dua, and then the mind begins to race. What if it doesn't happen? What if Allah doesn't answer me? But let me remind you today, Allah hears every whisper, even the one your lips were too tired to utter. Not a single tear falls, except that He is aware of it. Not a single plea rises to the heavens, except that it reaches the most merciful. Allah does not ignore dubugain. Allah does not forget you. Allah does not abandon His servants. Sometimes the answer comes quickly, and sometimes it comes wrapped in patience. Sometimes Allah gives you exactly what you ask for, and sometimes He gives you something far better, something your limited vision could not yet comprehend. The delay is not a denial. The silence is not rejection. It is divine timing, measured with perfect wisdom and infinite mercy. So stop worrying about if Allah will answer your dubuain. Worry instead about strengthening your trust in Him. Place your heart at ease, knowing that the one who controls the heavens and the earth is also managing your affairs. When you make dubuain, rise with hope, walk with confidence, and live with certainty, because Allah will answer your dua in the way that is best for you, at the time that is best for you. When a dubuayum is delayed, many hearts begin to question and many minds begin to worry. We ask Allah sincerely, repeatedly, sometimes with tears, sometimes with desperation, and when the answer does not arrive in the way or time we expected, Shaitan quietly whispers doubt. He makes us feel forgotten, ignored, or unworthy. But this is exactly where we need to correct our understanding, because a delay from Allah is never a punishment for the believer. It is often a sign of deep mercy. You see, Allah is Al-Hakeem, the most wise. His wisdom is perfect, while ours is extremely limited. We see only the present moment, only what we desire right now, only what we think will make us happy. Allah, however, sees the entire picture, your past, your future, what you can handle, what would harm you, and what would elevate you closer to Him. So when He delays an answer, it is not because He does not love you. It is often because He loves you too much to give you something at the wrong time or in the wrong way. Sometimes we ask Allah for something that would actually distance us from Him if we received it immediately. Sometimes we ask for ease, but that ease would make us forget to pray. Sometimes we ask for wealth, but that wealth would harden our hearts. Sometimes we ask for a relationship, but that relationship would pull us away from our values and faith. Allah knows this, even when we do not. So He delays. Not to hurt you, but to protect you. And sometimes the delay itself is the gift. Through waiting, Allah teaches you patience. Through waiting, He strengthens your reliance on Him. Through waiting, your du'a becomes more sincere, more humble, more consistent. You begin to turn to Allah, not just when you want something, but because you need Him. Your heart softens, your connection deepens, your iman grows. Would you really trade all of that for a rushed answer? Reflect on how many times in your life you wanted something so badly. You thought, if I don't get this, I won't survive. And then Allah withheld it. Time passed. Your heart healed. Your perspective changed. And later, you looked back and said, Alhamdulillah, Allah did not give me what I asked for. At that moment, you realized that Allah's delay was actually His protection. But at the time, it felt painful. That pain did not mean Allah was far. It meant He was carefully guiding you. Allah promises that every du'alayun is answered. If not in this world, then in the next. If not in the form you asked, then in a form that is better. Or Allah may use that du'again to remove a calamity that was heading your way, one you never even knew about. Imagine standing before Allah on the day of judgment and seeing mountains of reward, only to be told, these were the du'again you thought went unanswered. On that day, you will wish that none of your dubuhan were answered in the dunya. The believer understands that Allah's timing is perfect. When something is meant for you, it will reach you even if the entire world tries to stop it. And when something is not meant for you, it will never reach you even if you chase it with everything you have. So why exhaust your heart with worry? Why burden your soul with anxiety? Allah is in control. And He's never made a mistake, not once. The delay is a test of trust. Do you still believe Allah is listening when you don't see immediate results? Do you still worship Him with hope, not just expectation? Do you still make du'a, knowing that Allah chooses what is best, not what is fastest? This is where Iman becomes real. This is where Tawakkul is proven. So when your du'a is delayed, do not stop asking. Do not stop believing. Do not stop hoping. Raise your hands again and say, "Oh Allah, I trust you," because the one who delayed your answer is the same one who planned your relief. And when it finally comes at the perfect moment, you will realize that Allah was never late. He was preparing you all along. Trusting Allah's wisdom over our limited perspective is one of the greatest challenges of faith, because it requires us to admit something that the ego struggles with. We do not know everything, and we do not see everything. As human beings, we judge life through emotions, urgency, and immediate outcomes. If something makes us happy now, we assume it is good. If something causes pain now, we assume it is bad. But Allah's wisdom operates far beyond the present moment, far beyond what the eyes can see and what the heart can feel today. Allah knows the unseen. He knows what lies ahead tomorrow, next year, and even decades from now. He knows how one decision will ripple through your life, affecting your faith, your character, your relationships, and even your akhirah. You may look at one closed door and see loss, disappointment, or failure. Allah sees protection, redirection, and growth. You may see hardship. Allah sees purification. You may see confusion. Allah sees clarity being prepared for you at the right time. When you make du'a, you are not presenting a demand, you are expressing hope. And when Allah responds, He does so as the most wise, not as someone reacting emotionally. This is why trusting Allah's wisdom requires surrender. It means saying, "Oh Allah, I may not understand what you are doing, but I believe you know what you are doing." That level of trust does not come overnight. It is built through reflection, experience, and deep faith. Think about a child who needs medicine. The medicine is bitter. The child cries, resists, and believes the parent is being cruel. But the parent knows that within that bitterness is healing. The child's understanding is limited, but the parent's wisdom is greater. In a similar way, though, Allah's example is far beyond comparison. We sometimes resist what Allah decrees, because it doesn't match our desires. We feel pain and assume something is wrong, when in reality Allah is nurturing us, strengthening us, and steering us toward what is best. There are moments when Allah removes something from your life and your heart breaks. You replay the situation again and again, asking, "Why did this happen? Why now? Why me?" But years later, you look back and realize that what you lost would have cost you far more than you imagined. Maybe it would have weakened your faith. Maybe it would have delayed your growth. Maybe it would have destroyed your peace. At that moment, you understand that Allah's wisdom was present even when your heart was shattered. Trusting Allah's wisdom also means accepting that unanswered questions are part of the test. Allah does not owe you as explanation. He owes us nothing, yet He gives us everything. When a believer understands this, they stop demanding clarity and start seeking closeness. They stop asking why with anger and begin asking, "What do you want to teach me?" with humility. This shift transforms pain into purpose. Worry often comes from the illusion of control. We think that if we overthink, plan harder, or stress more, we can influence outcomes. But Allah gently reminds us that control belongs to Him alone. Your responsibility is effort and dubu'ayun. The outcome belongs to Allah. When you truly trust His wisdom, you stop carrying burdens that were never meant for your shoulders. You feel lighter not because life is easy, but because your heart is anchored in certainty. Allah's wisdom also manifests in timing. What you want may be good, but not now. What you desire may be halal, but not yet. What you are asking for may be written for you, but only after you become the person capable of handling it. Allah may be shaping your character, strengthening your patience, or increasing your gratitude before granting you what you seek. If it arrived too early, it might break you instead of blessing you. True trust means remaining obedient, even when things don't make sense. It means continuing to pray, even when answers are unclear. It means thanking Allah, even when tears fall. This is the faith that Allah loves, the faith that does not depend on circumstances, but on conviction. So when life confuses you, remind your heart, Allah sees what I do not see. Allah knows what I do not know. Allah's wisdom has never failed, and it will not fail with me. When you live with this belief, anxiety begins to fade, patience becomes easier, and your relationship with Allah deepens. And that in itself is one of the greatest answers Allah can give. Replacing anxiety with tawakkul is not about pretending that life is easy or that problems do not exist. It is about choosing where the heart rests when difficulties arise. Anxiety comes from carrying tomorrow's worries with today's strength, from believing often unconsciously that everything depends on us. Tawakkul, on the other hand, is the quiet confidence that Allah is managing what we cannot, even when the road ahead is unclear. Many people misunderstand tawakkul. They think it means doing nothing and simply waiting for things to fall into place. But true tawakkul is effort combined with trust. You strive, you plan, you work hard, you make dubulashun, and then you hand the outcome to Allah. Anxiety begins when we try to control results instead of focusing on responsibility. Tawakkul begins when we accept that our role ends at sincere effort, not guaranteed outcomes. The heart becomes anxious when it keeps asking, what if this doesn't work out? What if I fail? What if I lose? What if everything goes wrong? Shaitan thrives on these questions because they pull the heart away from the present and fill it with imagined disasters. Tawakkul responds with a different question. What has Allah written? Because whatever Allah has written will reach you, and whatever He has not written will never harm you. When this belief settles in the heart, anxiety loses its grip. Anxiety also grows when we forget Allah's past favors. Look back at your life. How many times were you certain that you would not survive a hardship, yet Allah carried you through it? How many nights did you cry, thinking there was no way out, only to see Allah open doors you never expected? If Allah supported you then, why would He abandon you now? Tawakkul is remembering that the same Allah who helped you before is the one handling your future. When the heart truly relies on Allah, even uncertainty becomes bearable. You may not know how things will unfold, but you know who is in control. This is why the believer can face storms with calmness, not because they are strong, but because they trust the strength of Allah. Tawakkul does not remove challenges. It removes the fear that comes with them. One of the most powerful aspects of tawakkul is learning to let go. Let go of the need to know every detail. Let go of the obsession with timelines. Let go of comparing your journey to others. Allah's plan for you is unique. What is delayed for you may be protecting you. What is happening for someone else may not be good for you. When you trust Allah, you stop measuring your life by other people's outcomes and start measuring it by your closeness to Him. Anxiety often whispers, you are running out of time. Tawakkul replies, Allah is never late. What is meant for you will arrive at the perfect moment. Not too early to spoil you, not too late to break you. Exactly when your heart, your circumstances, and your faith are ready. This belief brings peace in a world that constantly pressures you to rush, achieve, and worry. Tawakkul also teaches the heart contentment. You begin to accept that Allah chooses for you what you might not choose for yourself, and that His choice is always better. This does not mean you stop making du'ain or stop dreaming. It means that after you ask, you trust. After you try, you rely. After you fall, you know Allah will lift you in a way that is best for you. When anxiety rises, return to sujood. There is no place where the heart feels lighter than when the forehead touches the ground. In that moment, you are reminded of your position and Allah's greatness. You remember that you are a servant, not the controller of the universe. And there is peace in that realization. Replacing anxiety with tawakkul is a daily struggle. Some days the heart is strong and some days it trembles. But every time you choose trust over panic, you strengthen your iman. Every time you say Hasbi Allah and mean it, Allah places tranquility in your heart. And that tranquility is a sign that you are no longer walking alone. You are walking with complete reliance on Allah. Finding peace through patience, hope, and remembrance is a journey that reshapes the heart from within. In a world filled with noise, pressure, and constant uncertainty, the soul naturally becomes restless. We want quick results, instant relief, and immediate clarity. But Allah teaches us that true peace does not come from having everything we want. It comes from trusting Him while we wait. Patience is not weakness, nor is it passive suffering. Patience is strength under control. It is the ability to remain steady when the heart feels shaken. When Allah asks you to be patient, He is not ignoring your pain. He is acknowledging your struggle and promising that it has value. Every moment you restrain your frustration, every time you choose not to complain, every time you hold on to faith despite hardship, Allah records it as worship. Hope is what keeps patience alive. Without hope, patience feels heavy. But hope reminds the believer that Allah's help is near, even if it cannot yet be seen. Hope is believing that Allah can change everything in a single moment. One dubulayun, one decree, one divine command of be, and the situation transforms. When you carry hope in your heart, despair has no place to settle. Many people lose peace because they lose hope. They start to believe that their situation is permanent, that thing will never change, that relief is meant for others, but not for them. But Allah repeatedly reminds us not to despair of His mercy. Despair is not humility. It is forgetting who Allah is. The believer may feel sadness, but they never believe that Allah has run out of solutions. Remembrance anchors the heart when emotions begin to drift. When you remember Allah, you reconnect with truth. You remind yourself that this world is temporary, that struggles are part of the test, and that Allah is closer to you than your own heartbeat. Dhikr is not just words on the tongue, it is medicine for the heart. Each time you say the name of Allah, you are calming the soul, realigning your thoughts, and renewing your trust. When patience, hope, and remembrance come together, the heart experiences a unique kind of peace. Not the peace of having no problems, but the peace of knowing you are not facing them alone. This peace allows you to breathe even when life feels heavy. It allows you to smile even while you are waiting. It allows you to continue forward without bitterness. Waiting is one of the hardest forms of worship. Waiting for an answer, waiting for relief, waiting for clarity. But in that waiting, Allah is working on you. He is softening your heart. He is increasing your reward. He is strengthening your reliance on Him. If you could see what Allah is preparing for you while you wait, you would never rush the process. Remembrance also protects the heart from becoming attached to outcome. When you remember Allah often, your heart becomes attached to Him instead of the result. You still want good. You still make dumugain, but your peace is no longer held hostage by whether things go your way. This is true freedom of the soul. There will be days when patience feels thin, hope feels distant, and remembrance feels difficult. On those days, do not be harsh with yourself. Turn to Allah honestly. Tell Him you are tired. Tell Him you are struggling. Allah loves the servant who comes to Him broken but trusting. And in those moments of sincerity, Allah places light back into the heart. Peace does not arrive suddenly, it grows. It grows with every act of patience, every moment of hope, and every word of remembrance. And one day, You will look back at a period that once drained you and realize it was the time when Allah brought you closest to Him. And that closeness will be worth every moment you waited. The certainty that Allah will answer every sincere du'ain is a belief that transforms how a believer lives, thinks, and responds to hardship. It shifts the heart from doubt to confidence, from desperation to calm assurance. Allah Himself invites us to call upon Him and promises a response. And the word of Allah is never broken. When a believer truly understands this promise, they stop seeing du'ain as a last resort and begin seeing it as a lifeline that is always connected. Many people struggle, not because they do not make du'ain, but because they doubt its impact. They ask Allah, yet deep down they wonder whether their words matter, whether they are worthy, whether their sins have disqualified them from being heard. This uncertainty weakens the heart. But Allah does not say, call upon me if you are perfect. He says to call upon Him because you are in need. Your weakness is not a barrier to du'ain. It is the very reason du'ain exists. Allah hears every du'ain, whether it is spoken aloud or whispered silently, whether it is expressed clearly or choked by tears. Even the du'ain you could not put into words, the pain you carried quietly, the longing you hid from people, Allah knows it all. And His response is guaranteed. The only thing that changes is the form that response takes. Sometimes Allah answers by giving exactly what you asked for. Sometimes He answers by delaying it. Sometimes He answers by replacing it with something better. And sometimes He answers by protecting you from harm that you never saw coming. But in every case, the du'ain is answered. The believer understands that Allah's promise is not limited to one outcome. It is fulfilled through divine wisdom and mercy. One of the greatest mistakes people make is tying the acceptance of du'ain to a specific result. They say, if I get this, then Allah answered me. If I don't, then He didn't. This mindset creates disappointment and weakens trust. True certainty means believing that Allah answered you the moment you raised your hands, even if the result unfolds differently than expected. It means trusting the giver more than the gift. The companions of the Prophet understood this deeply. They did not measure du'ain by speed, but by sincerity. They knew that Allah loves being asked, that He becomes displeased when His servant turns away from du'ain. So they kept asking, even when the situation seemed unchanged. That persistence was not desperation, it was certainty. Certainty in du'ain also brings dignity to hardship. When you know Allah will answer you, you stop humiliating yourself before people. You stop chasing validation. You stop begging creation for what only the Creator can give. Your heart becomes attached to Allah alone. And that attachment is a source of strength. There is also immense comfort in knowing that no du'ain is wasted. Every supplication is stored, rewarded, or transformed. Nothing is lost. On the Day of Judgment, when the believer sees the reward of unanswered du'ain, they will wish that Allah had delayed everything in this world. That moment alone will erase every doubt you ever had. Certainty does not mean you never feel sadness or impatience. It means that even when emotions fluctuate, your belief remains firm. You may cry, but you do not despair. You may wait, but you do not lose hope. You may struggle, but you do not stop calling upon Allah. This balance is the mark of a believer whose heart is alive. When you make du'ain with certainty, it changes how you walk away from it. You rise with peace, not panic. You continue your efforts without obsession. You trust that Allah has taken your request and placed it exactly where it belongs. And that trust itself becomes an act of worship. So never underestimate du'ain. Never think your words are too small or your problems too insignificant. Never believe that Allah is tired of hearing from you. The one who created you wants you to turn to Him again and again. And when you live with certainty in His promise, worry slowly fades, and the heart learns to rest because it knows Allah will answer.